Well, hey there, folks, and welcome back to another episode of Talk Tuesday, where I go live here every week to bring you expert advice so you can have a better business and a better life. And of course, if you're tuning in on one of my channels, you know that my name is Kim, and I am the author of Write and Grow Rich, where I teach coaches, course creators, and speakers how to uplevel their brand, their visibility, and by writing a book and using it as a marketing tool to grow their business. But today I am super excited to have my good friend Alana Rene here with us today. And we're going to be sharing with you 3 keys to magnetize your message so you can get more clients. So if you are ever struggling with what to post, when to post it, if content creation is something that kind of overwhelms you, makes you feel icky inside, well, then you are absolutely in the right place, because today we're going to deep dive into how to make it easier, how to let your content come out of you super quickly, and how to create a content strategy that will shine and magnetically attract your clients to you so you can stop chasing and start attracting. So welcome to the show, Alana. I'm so glad to have you here today.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here. One of my favorite topics, of course.
I know, right? Me too. I mean, I do content creation in the form of a book. You're, of course, doing content creation along the customer value journey. So, I mean, we that kind of is a perfect segue to getting started into the content. But before we do, I would really love to for you to share a little bit about your journey from coach in the world of healing to coach in the world of content creation, and kind of how you made this big shift and what was the catalyst for that. And tell us a little bit about your story.
Sure. And it was definitely an unexpected story. So I've been a trauma, and I am, right? Like that doesn't go away. I am a trauma informed coach. And my previous coaching career, I've been coaching for probably over 10 years now. But I was helping women heal from toxic relationships. Loved it. Loved my one-on-one work. Seeing women heal their lives, heal themselves. But the one piece that I struggled with consistently was content creation,
Hmm.
and that constant, like you said, what am I going to post today? And it actually led to overwhelming burnout, and led me to putting that coaching business on hold and like figuring out what in the hell is next, because I can't keep doing this. I don't want to keep doing this. It kind of ruined the whole thing for me. And so as I was making transition, moving into the editing world because I love books, and but created as I was creating like what was next and just following the steps. In fact, you and I were chatting about this, and all of a sudden, because I started an editing business, and you and I were actually talking about me proofreading, getting on your list to help your clients proofread their books, right? But being the entrepreneur that I am, I'm still like, that's still got to scale, still got to scale it. And I discovered, as I was working through that, I discovered the missing piece. It was like this massive light bulb went off, and I realized what I was missing was the the strategy and the plan. So it wasn't that I can't get it right. What is wrong with me? Why can't I get any kind of traction? Why can't, like, I see all these other people out there with these big audiences, the engaged audience, and I was so frustrated trying to figure out like what's wrong with me? Why can't I do this? Right? Pretty sure I'm kind of smart, right? I'm tech savvy, and yet I couldn't figure it out. I kept trying, all the latest fads, and what I realized it was exactly that was the problem. I was trying all the latest fads, all the tools and tactics, but without a strategy and a plan. It just created chaos, which led to the burnout, which led to me shutting down that coaching business. But it also led me here today. So it's, and it also coincides with the fact that I am completing my MBA with an emphasis in marketing. So it all is kind of like that perfect storm there. Everything just came together and solidified into the whole picture. And
Oh
so
my
now,
God.
right.
Yeah. I
So
love that.
and and the biggest thing, I just want to point this out real quick before we dive into what we're going to talk about today, is that inside of my marketing classes for my MBA is marketing has not changed. The fundamentals of marketing has not changed, and it is a foundational piece of business that we as solo entrepreneurs, as coaches, as healers, we're not taught. And so I think it's the greatest disservice is to, we're passionate about whatever we get certified in coaching in. We start a business because we're passionate about helping people. And we get our certification and they say, go get 3 clients and kind of shove you out the door. And then you're left, now what? And so I think it's the greatest disservice. So it's learning marketing fundamentals, learning the strategy and the plan, and then you can add in the tactics. And then you have a path of where you're going. But marketing has not changed. Just the channels we use has changed. But you still have to apply marketing fundamentals. And we're not taught that.
Absolutely. I remember as a financial advisor, that was I learned everything I needed to do to manage people's money, got my, all my designations. And then it was, in my world, it was create your top 100 list. Start with your friends and family, the people who want to talk money the least with you. Right. And then when you run through that list and you've exhausted them and they don't even answer your calls anymore, even for personal stuff, then go networking. So it's so not taught. And I love that we're talking about the foundation, and it is a foundational practice. And I talk about it in my book marketing course all the time because people think, oh, you help me write book? No, I don't help you write a book. I help you design and plan a book that's going to be used as a marketing tool. Big, huge difference in the book publishing world. So let's dive into that because it's a perfect segue for the main key here. Key number 1 to being able to magnetize your message and get you clients is to understand the strategy behind your message, right?
Right. Whereas you need to understand the strategy of how are you going to walk your audience, right? People who aren't even aware of you yet. How are you going to walk them from discovering you all the way through the know, like, trust? And I think at times, we hear that a lot, right? People do business with who they know, like, and trust. What does that actually mean, right? It's like, is it random? Are you just lucky? No, it's actually a strategy and a plan, and it's a customer journey, and follows the sales funnel. So when you view it that way, then you walk your audience through getting to know you. Well, first, you getting to know them. Who's your target audience?
Ooh, big key right there. Let me stop. If you're watching, write that down. The know, like, and journey model starts with knowing who your customer is. Who is it that you want to serve? So carry on.
And getting in their heads, right? What's keeping them up at night? What are their problems? What are the struggles? I personally go for what are their desires. Right? Because once you can start speaking to their desires, then they have hope of, maybe this is possible for me, right? So getting to know your target audience, then they can get to know you. What are their problems or their desires? But also, how then can you help them? What are your benefits? How can you get them from where they are right now, point A, to the result, the transformation? But the key in all of that is your message.
Absolutely.
Because unless you nail your message, they're not going to hear you. And all of that is, how do you walk them through knowing you, to liking you, right? And then into trusting you enough to open their wallet and purchase from you, whatever that level is, from a smaller $7 or $27 product all the way up to your most expensive one-on-one or masterminds. But it is a journey, and it is a strategic journey that you have to dial in your messaging around. And it's not just one message, because there are different points at each stage of the sales funnel.
Well, not only different messages at each point of the sales funnel, but you alluded to it earlier. Then you've got all of the different messages that come in the form of, am I going to be doing social posts, and on what platform? And then, so how does my messaging change from platform to platform? What about emails, blogs, sales page copy? And you can feel like the overwhelm that happens with people because there's so many moving parts to creating your content. How does one make it easier to create content more efficiently?
Right. And which leads us to step number 2. But I want to wrap up step number 1 is creating a strategy is where you pick out what are you going to use, not just defining your messaging, right? Which includes like brand and positioning and stuff like that, but also what platform are you going to use? And to pick one, focus on one, master one before you add in another.
Absolutely.
Are you going to do podcasts, right? So that would be the social media posts, social media aspect, which platform? Are you going to do you love to write? Are you going to do blogs? Do you love to speak? Do you want to interview people? Are you going to do a podcast? Pick one of those. Are you going to do videos, which you can kind of blend the podcast and the videos together, but you pick one. So now you have your message, who your target market is, what is your message, where are you going to deliver that message, how are you going to deliver that message?
Absolutely. And with strategy in hand.
Right. And it's a path, it's a guided path of now you have a structure, now you have a path, now you know what you're, the next step you're going to take, but also eliminates the shiny squirrels. Yeah. Right? The sparkly little squirrels like, oh, let's go try this. No, that's not part of the plan. Let's give this plan time to work, which leads up to number 2 is content.
Right. How do you get your content?
What am I going to post today?
Yep. So what is key number 2 then?
So key number 2 is using tools, content creation tools. So there's lots of tools out there. One of my favorite ones is Canva. I'm not a graphic designer. I do not create anything from scratch on my own. I use templates. And I go out there, there's lots of template providers out there, so you can find a template that works for you. But use the template, set it up in your brand colors, set it up in your style, and then all you have to do is plug and play the content, which we'll talk about in a moment. But it also is your scheduler. Canva has a great scheduler in there. Don't get bogged down in multiple tools if you have something that you like that works in one. So there's no need, if you like Canva's scheduler, there's no need to go out and get another scheduler, right? Use the all-in-one. Let's keep it simple. So it also does video, it does presentations. Canva.
It does so much. It's one of my favorites.
So much.
Yeah. And you can get started for free. Now, I use the paid version because I want all the bells and whistles, and I use it daily in my business. But for someone just starting out, you can get free versions of most of the tools out there that we're talking about today.
Yes. And there are some that I do recommend. You need to at least pay for the pro. So Canva, yes, there is the free. I do recommend the pro because you just get a lot more features. There's the word, features with the pro version, right? And it's like what, $12.99?
It's like a graphic designer in a box for under $20 a month. It is a no-brainer in my business, but I realize that some people are starting out. Go play with it for a little bit, use it for a month, get familiar with all of the ways to use it, and then upgrade if you can, right?
Absolutely.
Now, doesn't Canva also now? Because I know we both are using AI, and there's new AI tools. Everybody's like on the AI bandwagon right now. And people are scared that like AI is a robot. AI is never going to be able to talk like me. I know Canva also, and almost all of the tools now have some sort of AI built in the tool. I know Canva does as well. It has like its own mini version of ChatGPT. What are your thoughts on that?
I like the voice, right? But it's not where I do my content creation. I don't use it for my content creation. It is coming up. I love that I'm seeing how it's expanding the AI piece of it. So it'll recommend templates. It'll recommend, you can play with all sorts of different things so that you don't have to go in and create it yourself. You can tell it what you want it to create, whatever you're working on. It'll offer suggestions. So I love that AI piece of it because then I don't have to break my brain trying to be a graphic designer that I am not.
Right. I love it. Yeah.
Not at all. Yeah. And that's what the whole point is. Like, find tools that help you with this so you don't have to break your brain.
Yes. Yes. So now Canva is mostly on the visual side. So what about on the writing side? So
The writing
let's talk
side.
about that one, because that's
Yes.
a pretty juicy one. What are the tool? What's your main tool? I mean, I know that there's tons of them. There's Jasper, there's WriteSonic, there's ChatGPT, right? We're talking about content creation tools, visual content creation tools, the language, the words content creation tools. What's what's that favorite tool that you're using right now for your main content creation?
I'm actually using ChatGPT. And the reason I'm using ChatGPT is because I can train it. I haven't found another. I used to use Jasper. I like Jasper. However, I've not been able to, I can't train the voice. I can tell it to use different tones, like, witty or inspiring, but it still doesn't come out sounding like me. So I use ChatGPT because I can train it to sound like my brand voice. Then I don't have to do so much editing. Because again, simplifies. So I do use ChatGPT. And it is, which I guess actually leads us into point number 3.
It does, but what I wanted to, before we jump into that, because I know what your point number 3 is, and I think it's freaking like next level AI, next level ChatGPT. But I mean, for those of you who aren't on the ChatGPT or the AI bandwagon yet, like who don't even understand what it means to tell somebody to use tones and personalities, right? What I always equate it to is using ChatGPT. It's like kind of like you're only good. Your body is like what you feed your body is what you get out of your body, right? And the same with ChatGPT. What you feed it in terms of telling it what to write for you is very important. And there's all sorts of tools to make that voice better. But like what we're about to talk about is like next level.
So ChatGPT. So I know there's a lot of strong feelings around AI right now. And the way I look at ChatGPT or any generative AI is that it is
it's a tool.
Collaboration tool. It's a tool, right? Yep. It's a collaboration tool that I use it to brainstorm. So I don't use it other than when I'm writing content, right? Like social media content. I use it as a collaboration tool. So I tell it what I'm doing. I tell it what I want. I will tell it how I want it. And it comes back with ideas I would never have thought about. So when you switch it to AI is here to replace us, it's not. AI has been around for decades. It's only now that we, as the everyday person, have access to it.
Correct. Yeah.
Affordably. We don't have to be a large corporation to use AI now, right? What do you think airlines use for their booking systems and their pricing?
Yeah. What do you think Amazon uses every time you go buy a book and it goes, people who bought this book also bought
this book, right? AI.
Same. Yeah.
Right. So AI is here to stay and it's evolving. And it's not here to, I truly believe it's not here to replace us. It is a tool for us to use to expand our abilities, to come up with new creative ideas, and to amplify our voice.
Yes.
As the everyday person, because as a solo entrepreneur, I couldn't get access to AI before ChatGPT came out, right? Yep. Or I would have needed to be like, I don't know, like a graphic designer and get the tool in one of the expensive graphic designer software programs.
Yeah, just like Canva solved that problem for us.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So
embrace the tools, people. If you're watching, embrace the tools and learn how to use them more effectively. And I feel like ChatGPT is kind of like when I refer to cooking, it's kind of like a cast iron pan. You have to season it properly before it's really working well for you, which you've learned how to do and you're masterful at.
I have been having so much fun with ChatGPT, and there's other tools out there. And I'm not talking about them today because I don't know them well enough, and I'm still learning and diving into the world. And as we were talking about Canva, it has the free version. It also has the low-cost paid version. Same with ChatGPT. It has the free version, and it has the low-cost paid version. ChatGPT, I highly recommend getting the paid version. It is night and day between the free and the paid. So for me, that's a no-brainer. For that monthly payment, But it's.
So let's talk about your methodology you figured out to train ChatGPT to talk like you, because seriously, I think this is the biggest problem I hear in my communities is that, I'm just not getting great results from ChatGPT. Like it's not, it produces content, but it's icky. It's off the mark. It's just doesn't sound like me. I spend too much time editing it and fiddling around with it that I could have just probably written it faster starting myself. So tell us how important it is to be able to and have the ability to get it to talk like you, right? Yeah. Which
So
is number 3, right?
This is number 3. So it is the best. So as you mentioned before, it's what you put in is what you get out. So I talk to ChatGPT like it's my best friend marketing buddy.
Awesome.
It's the world's best marketing consultant. But I talk to it as if it's my best friend.
Okay.
Hey, right? Like I act as if you are, and I have to give it a rule. So it knows what it's going to do. It knows because ChatGPT is built on the internet. And we know how much information is in the internet. Good, bad, and ugly, right?
Yes.
So you give it a role, act as if you are the world's best marketing consultant.
Got it.
Right? Love That's how I start. Another favorite prompt is, in a minute, I'm going to ask you to do whatever I'm going to ask it to do. But first, I'm going to give you some information. But first, what do you need to know before you can do this?
Interesting. I've never heard it done that way.
Yeah. So it's like, in a minute, I'm going to ask you to write a blog post. Or in a minute, I'm going to ask you to give me a blog post outline, 5-point blog post outline. But first, what do you need to know to be able to do that? And then it's going to ask you about your ideal client. What do you do? What's your ideal client? Stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
So what I do is I skip that part. Act as if you are the world's best marketing consultant. In a minute, I'm going to ask you to write a 5-point blog post outline. My ideal client is, who I am is, what I do is I help coaches and online course creators simplify their content creation using the power of generative AI. My ideal client, my dream client, is a coach who is overwhelmed with content creation, maybe feeling burned out, is frustrated by AI, doesn't know how to get started, whatever, right? I write paragraphs. And then I'll say, and I want the blog post topic to be how to maximize generative AI in content creation.
And out pops the magic.
Right? But what I was missing in that example was using my brand voice of.
Okay.
I have trained it. So what I did is I did an analysis and I trained it to use my voice. So I put in a bunch of my content and it told me what it sounded like. And so I used the keywords. But if it doesn't come out right, I just kind of tweak it a little bit. But I've done this over and over and over enough that I've been able to nail it down to remember to use my brand voice of empowering, inspired, authentic.
Right.
And I've at one point, I even asked it, what celebrities or authors sound like use this brand voice? So then you can use a blend. My blend happens to be Brene Brown and Elizabeth Gilbert. But it comes out sounding like me, saying things I wouldn't have had the nerve to say, or wouldn't have even thought to say.
Right.
Because when I'm writing myself and creating the content myself, I get in my own way. I get in my judgment. I get in my criticism. I get in my opinions about how I sound. Anybody who's going to listen to this, right? All of that mental chatter. But when I throw it into ChatGPT and it kicks out, I'm like, oh, I kind of like that.
Yeah, I love it. Oh my gosh.
And it's fun because now all of a sudden I have 6 months to a year's worth of content and I build out, right? So that's something else I teach is how do you build out 6 months to a year's worth of content in less than a day?
Wow, that's so crazy. Like, who wouldn't want to have 6 to 12 months worth of content built in a day, right? I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah,
And
and I'm talking social media, blog posts, articles, 3-minute video scripts, 10-minute video scripts, all of it in less than a day.
but it all starts with having that strategy, right? Key number one that we just talked about today. It starts with having a content creation strategy, knowing who it is that you serve, the problem they have, what keeps them up at night, what are the results and desires that they're looking to get, and understanding how to clearly articulate that you, as the coach, consultant, entrepreneur, coach, or course creator, speaker, you solve the problem and you help them bridge the gap to get there faster than they could on their own. Because we live in an information age. Let's not kid around here. You can Google anything. I can Google how to fix the brakes on my car. Am I going to? No, because I'm going to take it to somebody who can get it done faster because they've trained how to do it. They know how to do it. They have the tools to do it and the resources to do it. Right.
And you know your wheels aren't going to fall off.
And you know that it's going to get done right. So it's why I use coaches and mentors. I know it's why you use coaches and mentors, Alana, right? And then, of course, embracing tools. We have tools now in today's day and age that help you get there faster. You do not have to recreate the wheel, reinvent the wheel of any sort, of any kind. You can use templates that are available everywhere, all over. We talked about Canva today. We talked about ChatGPT. We talked about Canva for the visual and the videos and all that good stuff. The fun part. I find that the fun part. And then we talked about ChatGPT for the writing part, and really training ChatGPT how to talk in your own brand voice. But even that, I feel like, can be a little bit overwhelming for some people. Like, how do you tell it, how to talk like you? What do you feed it to get it to talk like you? And I know you have another step that somebody can take. If you're watching, whether you're live or on the replay, and you want to know how to train ChatGPT to talk like you so you can get your content out faster and more efficiently, but also sounding like you, not like a robot, then you need to learn how to do this. And Alana, I know you've got a resource for somebody who wants to learn how to train ChatGPT to talk like you.
Absolutely. So next Tuesday, a week from today, I'm actually hosting a workshop. So it's going to be live. It's going to be interactive. So I'm going to actually work with people who show up to train ChatGPT for their brand voice. So it's next Tuesday, September 26th at 1 p.m. Pacific. And we'll put in the, you put in the registration link already. Look right there, tools.
Copy paste tools.
Yep. And so if you want to even, see how we do this, if you want yours done so that you can literally, and I'll send you the chat, right? So I'll work it through with you and I'll send you the information so that you have it. Hop on, register for the workshop for next Tuesday, and let's just get hands-on. That's what I love about this, is that it's dynamic and it's hands-on. So let's get in there and learn how to use it and build on that. Oh, speaking of, real quick, I'm sorry. ChatGPT, Canva actually has a plug-in to ChatGPT now. So it'll give you, ChatGPT will give you template recommendations for Canva.
Wow, that's amazing. Now, can you actually train it in Canva? Because I know with
I'm still working on that part.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's start with the workshop.
Start with the workshop.
The
foundation of marketing is your brand. Who are you? What do you stand for? Who are you serving? And what position?
Yeah.
Right. So it's called brand positioning. So you have to get your brand nailed first before you do anything else. Right. So that is step number one, is brand. And so that you can hop on the workshop, we'll sort out your brand voice. I'll show you how to use it in ChatGPT for future, when you're creating other posts, right? You can still use it. You don't have to recreate it every time. And then you can start on the next step. But yeah, I'm really excited for this.
I'm so excited. So whether you are watching us right now live or on the replay, if you are on Facebook in either one of our personal profiles, if you are in the Facebook group, you could be watching from Zero to Marketing Hero, in the Marketing Mastery Academy, in Write and Go Rich, or whether you're on LinkedIn or YouTube, we have a link everywhere in each one of the chats or the comments below the video for you to go in and register for this completely free workshop where Alana is going to walk you through all the steps to be able to train your very own ChatGPT tool to talk just like you. So you can create your content faster and you can really get on the path to magnetizing your message for your clients to really start attracting your perfect clients into your business. And it starts with understanding that brand voice and then using the tools to magnetize your message so you can start getting new clients on autopilot using faster and easier ways to get your content out. So Alana, thank you so much for joining me today. Do you have any last keywords or of advice or anything else that you'd like to say as we wrap up here?
Just one last thing is that this workshop really is, if you're a coach who is a little leery of AI, if you're confused by AI, if you don't know where to start with AI, like, you are who I want to help, right? I want to help you get this going and simplify your whole process. So hop on, and then, I mean, this workshop is going to be designed for you.
Absolutely. So if you're worried that, you don't want to be sounding like a robot, you want ChatGPT to be able to authentically speak like you, then you do not want to miss this workshop. So join us next Tuesday, 1 p.m. Pacific. That is 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and wherever else in the world, you'll have to do that math yourself. Join Alana and I next week and come and learn how to train ChatGPT to talk just like you so you can magnetize your message and get new clients. Until next time, folks, stay safe, stay strong, stay positive.